Good morning class, welcome to your daily current affairs on paper Hindu. Let's go with today's articles. So yesterday we were discussing one article that we will be having a trilateral meeting with Bhutan. So India, Bhutan and China will be meeting together and we will be further discussing on these security issues and border disputes together. Okay. So in that respect, recently King Jingme, so recently in the sense yesterday, King Jingme, Keshar Nagmel and Narendra Modi discussed entire gamut of ties. So he is a Bhutan king and he has visited India and both have discussed about what are the possibilities and how to settle these border issues. So the security issues on table as PM meets Bhutan king. So whatever the dispute areas that we have commonly with Bhutan, China and India, so we that places will be further discussed, and Bhutan is our all-time friend. So we have a strong trust relationship with them. So we have a trust, goodwill and a mutual understanding. That is a relationship which we have with them. And India and Bhutan remain in close coordination over all the security matters. Foreign Secretary Vinay Kwatra has said on Tuesday. So that is what he has told that definitely we are in close relationship and we will definitely sort this particular issue. So once we meet with China too, then definitely we will sort out the border issues. So that is about this article. Next, so we have shared interests, all these regarding security, all these things we have already seen. In international relations too, we have discussed about what are our ties with Bhutan. Okay. Next, invented names will not alter the reality of Arunachal Pradesh, says India. So again, this is the continuation article of yesterday. So what happened? China has given out a list in which they have renamed 11 cities of Arunachal Pradesh and making it included in their border of China, right? And currently they have renamed two. The renamed list has been out. So this is not for the first time which has happened. In 2017 it has happened once, and 21 it has happened once, and now this is the third time that they are doing the same action. So what yesterday India hasn't replied anything to that, official statement has not been given, but yesterday the later day they have given one statement that India on Tuesday rejected China's renaming of several places in Arunachal Pradesh, saying invented names will not affect the status of sovereignty over the region. The official response came a day after China issued a list of 11 places in standardized in Arunachal Pradesh. So these 11 places which they have renamed, India has assured that irrespective of their own releasing of any kind of list, still it is a part of Indian sovereignty. So you cannot disturb that. That is what our External Affairs Ministry responded. Okay. Next, and they have told again a continuation to this. They have also given a press release stating that we are going to have SCO summit, which is Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So we will be having that SCO summit in India. So at that particular time we will be discussing further on this border disputes. Okay. So once the defense minister of China will be visiting here, so defense and security minister once from China, if that particular person visit India, then definitely we will discuss all the possibilities and we will try to sort out the issue. That is what the press release said. Next, that is a local news. Let's go with the national news only. Next. So yes, these are international financial institutions. So you know, World Bank, ADB, IMF. So currently these institutions will be giving you growth projections. So for this particular year, what can be the possible growth? So these projections they will be giving. S&P Global will be giving you PMI index. So all these things we have discussed. In the same way, World Bank has given one projection where it has forecasted the growth. So it has lowered the forecast growth of India to 6.3% in this particular fiscal year. So it has lowered, however, even 6.3% it has lowered, but still this 6.3% is a higher score compared to many of the South Asian countries. So we are still in the higher edge only. So our economy is stable enough despite lowering it to 6.3 projection growth rate. Okay. So reasons include, definitely once they are lowering it, they need to explain the reasons, right? Even if they are altering any kind. So if they are increasing the growth rate or if they are decreasing the growth rate projections, definitely they need to give you reasons. So what are the reasons that mentioned? Reasons include high borrowing costs, slower income growth causing higher borrowing costs. Next, your slower income growth again having impact of global headwinds, right? So, because of these two, it is weakening the consumption, which is again triggering or the reason for lowering of this growth projection to 6.3%, as well as the government tightening fiscal expenditure, says the report. So, World Bank report also mentioned that. So, the consumption has been weakened, and also the government's fiscal policy tightening of this fiscal expenditure is also one of the reasons for lower growth rate. So, this is clearly about the article. However, it has mentioned again that the situation is better than in many other countries in South Asia. So, comparatively, even if it is 6.3% growth rate projection, still it is far better than other countries in South Asia. Okay, fine. So, World Bank projections forecast 6.3% economic growth rate in India for the current fiscal year, which ends on March 31st, 2024. So, from April 1st to March 31st, 2024, this is the fiscal year which has been started now. So, which ends and a downgrade of 0.7 percentage points since its October forecast. So, initially in October forecast they have given one particular growth projection and they have lowered it from that to 0.17%, it has lowered to 6.3% growth projection. Okay. So, that is about this article. Next. Lokpal closes 68% graft complaints against officers without action. So, these are like Lokpal, Lokayukta. So, Lokpal at the central level, Lokayukta at the state level. So, these are the government bodies, statutory bodies which will question against any corruption happening in public domain. So, in public governments, in government officers or officials, whoever are tending or under the ambient of corruption. So, if they are doing this corruption, definitely these people will be authority to question them. As long as they receive the complaints, they will be doing this authoritative job. So, currently what is the issue here? They have closed 68% graft complaints against officers without action. So, among the 100% of complaints that they have received, 68% of the complaints received have not been addressed. No action has been taken place. That is what that particular report says. So, around 68% of the corruption, important for your governance again. Okay. So, 68% of the corruption complaints against public functionaries that landed with the Lokpal of India were disposed of without any action in the past 4 years. So, the past 4 years on average 68% of the cases have been rejected, and they have clearly mentioned that. Yes. So, according to the data provided by the Lokpal office, before that I need to give you another data. See, nearly 90% of the complaints were not in prescribed format. They have again mentioned that one of the reasons for these rejections or inaction is because it is not following proper format or the guidelines given by Lokpal and Lokayukta Act. So, based on that, they are not following that particular guidelines. That is why we are unable to take action. That is what they have given the reply. So, the Lokpal of India, the country's first anti-corruption body, instituted 4 years ago to investigate complaints against public functionaries, including Prime Minister. So, Prime Minister, MPs, MLAs, except for suppose if Prime Minister, so Prime Minister, MPs, MLAs, if they are in Parliament, if they are taking any decisions or if they are talking anything in Parliament, then such things will not be under the ambient. But if they are doing any action out of the Parliament and that is leading to some kind of corruption, then definitely they will be under the ambient of Lokpal and Lokayukta. So, Lokpal at the central level. So, exactly about this, submitted to a parliamentary panel, it has not prosecuted even a single person accused of graft till date. So, in this particular report they have mentioned it, as far as today, since 4 years ago after this body has been launched, they haven't taken any action. That is what they have given. Not even a single person have been convicted. So, according to the data provided by Lokpal office in the parliamentary panel on the Department of Personnel and Training, so what reply this particular body has given? So, what it has told that since 2019-20, the anti-corruption body received 8,703 reports. So, complaints, out of which 5,981 complaints were disposed of. That means action has been taken. Taken in the sense, either they have given proper reply, so either the particular person has been convicted or he has not been convicted or she has not been convicted. So far around 8,703 complaints, in it 5,981 complaints have got reply back. They have been disposed of successfully, and 6,775 complaints were rejected, not being able to or not in the correct format. So this is where the glitch comes. See, even if the format is not correct, at least you have to ask them for the update, or you have to make or create awareness among the people, right? So that is where this particular body is lacking. You need to understand. So this is the constructive criticism on Lokpal and Lokayukta as part of your governance. Very important. Next. Yeah, one more thing. So yesterday when I was explaining you one article about this defamation case where Rahul Gandhi has been defected and he has been disqualified from his member of parliament. So his membership has been disqualified. I have mentioned it as Rajiv Gandhi. Sorry for that. It is Rahul Gandhi. Rajiv Gandhi is father of Rahul Gandhi. So I just did it in a wrong way. It's a Rahul Gandhi. Okay, Rahul Gandhi who has been defected, and now he's gone to approach Surat High Court. Okay, so in Surat Court they are again having discussion about this defamation case. Okay, currently has been granted with bail. Right. Next. So medical body issues. So again this is for the first time. Yeah, for the first time, important. Medical body issues guidelines for conduct of students and teachers. So for the people who are going or who are taking this particular medical courses, medical education, for the first time ever, they have given this code of conduct for both teachers and students. So how they have to do or how they have to work on, or what are the rules and regulations or code of conduct that has to be followed as long as they are in the field of medical. Okay, in the medical field, as long as they are in the teaching for teachers, as long as they are pursuing the education as students, they have given code of conduct. We will see certain points which they have mentioned, only one or two, so it will be good. 25-page document. Why I am discussing this? Again, in your ethics part, this is important. You can add in your GS4 paper. Again, this is where you can add code of conduct for medical students have also been given, right? So 25-page document in which they have mentioned that sexual orientation, gender, socio-economic class should not be the base for discrimination. One of the guidelines that there should not be sexual orientation or gender-based discrimination, or socio-economic class should never be the grounds of your discrimination. One of the guidelines said. Another one, students were also advised to work towards ensuring an ethical doctor-patient relationship and maintain public trust in the health system. What is another one they have told? They are discussing about students were advised to have ensuring, or they have to ensure that they have an ethical doctor-patient relationship. So future they are going to be doctors, they are future doctors, right? If they are medical students, they are going to be future doctors. So they need to ensure that they are having a proper ethical relationship with their patient. So and to build up proper public trust in the ecosystem, right? Health ecosystem. Next, norms for teachers. The guidelines for teachers stated that education was a moral enterprise and teachers should ensure that teachers were competent, that the students were competent, caring and empathetic and ethical in their practice. So being a teacher for these particular medical students, they have to ensure that they are following all different kinds of moral enterprises and ensure that the student is caring enough, competent enough and empathetic towards their, also ethical in practice towards their patient. Again discussing about imparting ethics into students with respect to doctor-patient relationship, right? These are few of the guidelines that they have mentioned, important for the first time. So next. So yesterday we have seen, right, this particular drug, eye drops, has some strain, bacterial strain. With that, an update highlighting the absence of an alert or communication to India from US Center for Disease Control and Prevention or the Food Drug Administration on their concern that drug-resistant bacteria strain allegedly linked to the eye drops imported from India could have gained a foothold in US. DGCI has written to USA seeking the details about the case, says Health Ministry. So what is this article about? Currently, now the drug which has been manufactured in India for eye drops has been imported in US. That means it is exported from India and imported in US, and currently people who have used this particular eye drops, they've got affected with some bacterial strain. So clearly the CDC department of US has alleged that it is because of this particular drug usage, eye drops drug usage, which has been imported from India, right. So now health ministry has told that yes, before giving that statements, at least give us the data. So give us the data, let us also investigate on that. That is what this particular article is about, right. Next, vacancies of judges. So yeah, first let me read this here. More women judges at high courts than in district courts than in high courts. So judges in women are increasing in district courts compared to high courts. So again, this report is from India Justice Report 2022. As part of your judiciary constructive criticism, whenever you are mentioning about gender inequality in representation in high court for women, then you can add this report. So what is this report? India's Justice Report 2022 stated that in a different scenario, district judges women representation are more compared to high court. So let's see, there are more women judges at the high court level than at the there are more judges at the district court level than at the high court level, with 35% of the total number of judges at the high court level and only 13%. So only this term is important. When you consider district courts, 35% of them are women. When you consider high court level, only 13% of judges are women. So you can clearly see the difference. So across the country being women. So while the share of the women judges across the states, highest in Goa, which is 70%, and subordinate by Meghalaya and Nagaland with 63% each. So highest in Goa. So you need to understand only these three are important. So number one, in district judges, 35% are women represented, or women participation is there, women judges are there. In high court level it is 13%, and highest representation is in Goa with 70%, right. Next. So rest all data again, not to go in depth, right. Next, vacancies of judges remain high, cases pile up, says India's Justice Report. Same report again, it has told that currently the vacancies are high. At the same time, because of these vacancies, pendency of cases has been increased. Obviously, when there are less representation or less people in judiciary, definitely cases will be piling up. Cases will not stop. As the population grows, the issues will grow. Grievance redressal should also be growing. But however, pendency of vacancies, so vacancies of judges is triggering pendency of cases. So delaying in cases. So Indian courts are jammed with cases and are seeing pendency increase by the day. At the same time, they are also functioning with fewer judges than the sanctioned number. So than the sanctioned number, still they are working with fewer judges. That is what this IJR report, which is Indian Justice Report of 2022, has told. So as of 2022, December, against a sanctioned strength of 1,108 judges for the high courts, they were functioning only with 778, important, underrepresentation than the sanction. So through legislature, it has been sanctioned judges are 1,108, whereas current functioning has only 778 judges. So the subordinate courts were found functioning with 19,288 against the sanctioned one of 24,631. So still there is huge vacancy, but they are not filling up, right. So because of which there are huge pendency of cases. So we need to know what is the level of pendency to see. At high court level, Uttar Pradesh has the highest average pendency. Cases remained pending for an average of 11.334 years. So imagine if I file a case in Uttar Pradesh, on an average my delay time would be 11 years. When will my justice be served? Are you able to understand? So the highest, and in West Bengal it is 9.9 years. Okay. The lowest average court pendency is in Tripura, which is 1 year, and Sikkim it is 1.9 years, because these are small states, no? and that to northeast. So small states dependency is less, where in Tripura it is 1 year, Sikkim it is 1.9, Meghalaya it is 2.1. These are the bottom list, that means where delaying is less, and delaying is more in Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal, okay, on an average of 11 and 9.9, okay, fine. Right, next. Windfall taxes on fuels virtually scrapped. So, windfall taxation is levied on oil, crude oil companies. So, currently this particular windfall taxes has been scrapped as of now, because let us say what is this windfall taxation? In brief, I have already explained once in your class for you to remind it. So, now let us say I am a crude oil company, ONGC, let us say I am manufacturing or I am extracting this crude, or I am distributing. So, one of the company which deals with crude oil. Because of the global issues or because of any other issue, if my profit in this crude oil has been increasing, so irrespective of, understand clearly what is crude oil? Windfall taxation. I have already explained it once for the people who are watching it newly, just for you. Windfall taxation. So, if there is a company, oil company in India, okay, let us say in India, because currently this taxation will be on India, so I am talking about only the scenario of India. Now, there is an oil company, because of the global issues, other countries or any other scenario, global issues, or if the demand has been risen out of nowhere, irrespective of my company decisions. So, irrespective of my company decisions, that means I haven't taken any other steps, innovative steps to get this profit, but because of this global scenario, my profits have been increasing more than the expected one. So, that can be from anywhere. So, it can be definitely more than, so 20 to 100%, whatever it is. It is not a hypothetical, so it is a hypothetical situation, you do not know what is the percentages, it might be anywhere more. So, because of the crude oil, complete inflation in the crude oil sector, definitely the oil companies will see huge profits, right. Now, levying taxation on these profits, tax on these oil profits because of the other domino effect, because of the domino effect of some other countries, global scenario, whatever it is, not because of my company decision. So, taxing on these profits is windfall taxation. Repeating again, any profit that a particular company, here it is completely about crude oil, if it is gaining any kind of profits, not because of the company decisions, because of the global disturbances or any other factors, if it is reaping more benefits, taxing on those benefits is your windfall taxation, right. Currently in India, this taxation has been scrapped, but now the issue is, so yesterday we have seen one article that OPEC plus countries and including Russia, they have announced that we will be cutting this production again. Oil production cuts have been announced by OPEC plus with Russia. So, they have mentioned that we will be cutting to 1.16 million barrels per day. Because of this, again crude oil requirement will increase. So, when requirement is increasing, definitely the prices will increase. So, who will see benefits? The companies who are dealing with oil, definitely they will be reaping benefits. So, they are worrying that whether we will be charged with further windfall taxation, but as of now it is mentioned that currently we will not be going to levy any windfall taxation as of now. Maybe in future they might be levying again. So, the government has temporarily scrapped the windfall taxation on crude oil production by reducing the special additional excise duty levied on oil producers since last July from 3,500 per ton to 0. Since last July, they have completely scrapped this windfall taxation, which was earlier used to be per ton they have to pay 3,500, and now it has been reduced to 0, scraped off completely. But the global oil prices rebounding after OPEC plus grouping announced for the production cuts, experts believe that the taxes will be raised again. So, as of now it is removed, but because of this production cut, it might be increasing, but we never know. So, government hasn't announced anything with this regard. Okay. Next. ADB, Asian Development Bank. So, Asian Development Bank cuts India's fiscal year 2024 growth rate to 6.4%. Earlier I mentioned that World Bank has cut down it to 6.3%. ADB has cut down India's growth projection to 6.4%. Similar one, again they have mentioned that because of slowing of investments, currency risk, so flight of your amount. So with that they are showcasing a very less investments, because of which growth projections has been reduced. Nothing more is present in this article. So for this financial year they have reduced the growth projections to 6.4. Next. And they have also mentioned because of the tighter monetary policy, the global economic slowdown, other details apart from investment. They have also mentioned that it is also because of global economic slowdown, then tighter monetary policy, persistently elevated crude oil prices. Backdrop, Russia-Ukraine war. Also OPEC Plus and Russia have cut down oil production. Okay. Yes. Next. So earlier our growth projection was 7.2%. It has been reduced again now to 6.4. Okay. Next. So the last article which I would like to discuss, what was discussed with the UN Water Conference. So currently, after 46 years for UN Water Conference, earlier it was held in 1977, and after that, after 46 years, UN has come up with this particular conference on water. So water conference, and what are the outcomes? Important again. So this is dealing with SDG 2, Sustainable Development Goals. So you need to know what are the outcomes. What is this water conference? We need to know. So what did the report titled Water for Sustainable Development 2018 to 2028 recommend? So what are its recommendations? What is the most common cause for groundwater? Over abstraction. So over abstraction of this groundwater, what is the reasons? First, let me go with the gist. The water sector is prone to fragmentation because water problems tend to be local. So one size fit for all approach is a failure. We cannot do, for suppose, let's say there is a lake near to my hometown. Because of vehicular pollution and because of the industrial effluents, that particular lake is being polluted. On the other hand, if you can go to some other village, there is one lake which is being polluted because of agricultural waste. Agricultural waste disposal and also household waste disposal are dumped into that particular lake, and that particular lake is being polluted. Let's go with some other river. So let's take Ganga. So because of more and more dead bodies are being floated into that particular river, it is being polluted. Now, I have one single approach for all these three to solve this issue. So to clear this water, will it be sufficient? No. So one size fit for all approach will not be working out. Definitely I need to understand what is the scenario or what is the issues, what are the issues that are polluting that particular water body, and I have to come up with a particular plan. So the problems tend to be local. Of course, my hometown's lake pollution causes is different, local cause is different, another village local causes is different for pollution. Same thing with the other river. So they have understood that whatever the water sector is prone for fragmentation because the water problems are tend to be local. Therefore, there is an inherent problem in mobilizing globally for local problems. So whenever there are local problems, having a global addressing scenario will be a failure. That is what first they have understood. The conference resulted in 713 voluntary commitments by philanthropic donors, governments, corporations and NGOs. So after this conference, 713 people have come forward for donations. So let us take this particular as a first particular issue as a step. So we have to take positive steps towards it. This included 50 billion commitment from India to improve rural drinking water services under Jal Jeevan Mission. So under Jal Jeevan Mission, so rural development steps commitment was made till $50 billion. So $50 billion will be invested in Jal Jeevan Mission to ensure pure drinking water for rural areas, rural households, right? Next. Last UN Water Conference was held in 1977. 46 years later, the groundbreaking as it was the first action plan. So, first action plan till now they have followed, and 2023 they have updated it. Important again. So, let us see. So, United Nations 2023 Water Conference held on March 2024 was the first meeting after 46 years, and in a recent report, Water for Sustainable Development 2018 to 28, the UN recognized urgent need for action given that we are not on track to meet a 2030 Sustainable Development Goal for water. So, why this water conference has been held? Because we have an SDG goal, which is ensure availability, sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. So, we need to ensure that each one of the person in the country, all over the world, they will be having sustainable management of water and drinking water facilities should be given. That is as part of SDG, and currently we are out of track. That is why they have constituted this water conference after 46 years. So, what is this conference? The water sector is prone for fragmentation because water problems tend to be local. If a particular lake is being polluted or a particular area is often flooded, it needs local solutions, of course. So, if there is an issue, definitely it needs to be sorted at a local level, not at the higher levels. So, bottom to top approach should be there. Next, so therefore, there is an inherent problem in mobilizing globally for local problem. So, whenever you are seeing a local problem, then inherent problem in mobilizing globally. So, they have clearly understood that we cannot take up it at a global level, instead we have to focus on local level for solving these issues. So, UN Water Conference held in 1977, which was an action plan which helped in recognizing all peoples, whatever their stage of development in socio-economic condition, have the right to access to drinking water in quantities of a quality equal to their basic needs. So, based on their basic needs requirement, the level of pure water should be given to them. Based on the requirement, definitely all the people should be ensuring that they have drinking water and their basic facilities with respect to water. And that action plan has been continuing till now, and now it has updated, and India's currently, so go through these challenges and India's programs currently with respect to this water conference. So, in sync, what are we having? Number 1, Swachh Bharat Vision. Number 2, Jal Jeevan Mission. However, the challenge is that improving access to water and sanitation no longer translates directly to sustainable access to water and sanitation. So, again the challenges which they have mentioned here. So, the program still needs to be updated. So, that is what they have clearly mentioned, and the SDG targets. Let me go to here. Yes, the key commitments that you need to know. This year conference resulted, which I have already told, in which $50 billion is assured for development in Jal Jeevan Mission, and there are already many solutions such as for knowledge sharing. Thus, we need to accelerate this cross learning. That means case studies needs to be adopted. For suppose in particular country this water mission was successful, then definitely we need to improve it in our session, in our particular country, right? So, what we have to do? Cross learning needs to be assumed. So, we need to do knowledge sharing sessions with taking up different case studies from different countries across cross borders. Next, a notable tool here was W12 plus footprint, the UNESCO's platform hosting city profiles and the case studies of programs. As I told you, you need to know case studies, you need to know which cities are ramping up with their water, sustainable usage of water. So, in that case, UNESCO's platform was there, which is W12 plus blueprint, which has across different countries, they have study programs, case studies, city profiles, technologies used, what are the policies, governance policies used for development of all these sustainable water. So, that is one solution, and the effort called Making Rights Real offered to help marginalized communities and women understand how to exercise their rights. So, Water for Women Fund is also offered. So, they need to make them aware. So, such kind of making rights real, making rights real, so this gives the rural people to understand what are their rights, and Water for Women Fund. So, to understand what are the rights for women, how they should be how should the policies or knowledge sharing sessions or the awareness that would help this woman to have their rights known and develop sustainable water available. Okay. Yes. So, offered mechanisms for more effective and sustainable water, sanitation and hygiene outcomes for women. So, if women are targeted, definitely entire development will be great, because there are households currently in rural areas. So, household management will be by them. So, Water for Women Fund is another objective or another commitment from this Water Conference of UN. So, that is it for today. So, thank you for the session. We will meet in tomorrow's session with the daily current affairs. Thank you.